Moonshot program is here, and I got a method where you won't even have to play the conquest map or showdown, but it might require you to spend some stubs if you don't want to do either of those. So the first thing is going to be what I always recommend knocking out of the way, and that is going to be to do your moments. All of these moments are going to be on veteran difficulty, and for these moments all you have to do is hit one simple home run. If you're someone that struggles with zone when it comes to hitting home runs, I guarantee you that if you switch to directional and point your analog up so your hitter tries to hit a fly ball, eventually you will catch something hanging and hit a home run and complete the moment and continue on to the next one. Before jumping into the next step, please let me remind you to hit that like We're still aiming for 30,000 subscribers before the month of August ends. You can help me out by hitting that red subscribe button, like button, notification bell, and then checking out the links inside the description. That's gonna bring us to step number 2. You're gonna focus on squad building, and you're going to try to go ahead and have as many players interconnecting between the missions that you have available. But if you'd rather not do that and just focus on specific missions at once when it comes to squad builds, because that will be easier for you, then you go ahead and do that. So most of these builds, you can go ahead and filter it easily inside of the squad section. For example, if I wanted nothing but live series players, I would just press square here or whatever button it is on Xbox, and then I would go all the way down to where it says series, and I would change it to live series players. If I only wanted captains, I would of course untoggle season 3, and then I will look for captain cards, and I would plug in as many captain cards as I had available. And then when it comes to switch hitters, you go to bat hand, you switch it to switch. The only ones where you will have to manually go inside of the card to see is going to be where the player was born, as well as whether the player is a certain height. So in particular, when I'm talking about entering the card to see, it would be for this one. It needs to be a player who originates from states or countries that begin with the letter M. For example, if the player was born in Michigan, if the player was born in Mexico, it also applies to this. You're gonna actually have to enter the card to see whether the player is 5'10" or shorter, or if the player is 6'4" or taller. But when it comes to low power hitters, you can also just go ahead and filter that as well, I believe. If not, then it shouldn't be that difficult to go ahead and enter the cards as well. Now, from completing all of these generic missions, you are going to get yourself 55 out of 100 program points. And I know it's a lot of home runs you have to hit. So Blade, what is the best and fastest method for me to go ahead and hit all of these home runs? As always, it's going to be play versus CPU. So if you either have a pitcher that you need to go ahead and complete stat missions for in terms of innings, Warren Spawn, for example, or a pitcher that you need to get PXP for, the extreme program pitches, for example, you could go into play versus CPU or mini seasons and then go ahead and play at whatever custom stadium you have in order to play at a very small ballpark that will allow you to maximize on home runs. But if you do not have current gen, which is PS5 or the latest Xbox, then you can always go to a minor league stadium and do this. The minor league stadium that I would go to in order to do this would be Capitol Lane Park. This stadium the ball flies out of. You can also use Shieldwoods Park, but that is only if you have someone to work on with pitching as well. If you only want to get the home runs and you only have hitters to work on, then what I would suggest you go ahead and do is stack up the players in terms of power, go to Coors Field and play as away. When it comes to stat missions, you do not need to hit until an 8th plate appearance. Instead, when it comes to stat missions, as soon as that player hits, the stat is counted towards whatever program progress you're working on. So for example, if these 9 guys here were all live series players and I went ahead and hit a home run with every other hitter until I got to 3 outs, then I would have 3 home runs. I could then quit out, have 3 out of 20 with live series players, and then re-enter and rinse and repeat the process until I get a total of 20 home runs. This is much faster than having to pitch in games because this will only work towards this program rather than forcing you to go ahead and waste time on pitching, especially if you have no pitching missions or PXP to go after. So after you complete all of these generic missions, and once again I must repeat, try to find players that match as many of these mission requirements as you possibly can. But after you complete these missions, that's going to be a total of 35 program points. With 35 program points, we are now going to be sitting at 55 program points. That's going to unlock you Anthony Rizzo, Adam Duvall, Alex Bregman, and Josh Donaldson. All 4 of these guys have specific player missions in which they need to hit home runs. So what I would do with these 4 players is I would go ahead and put them 1 through 4, and then I would practice the same approach, the play versus CPU against Coors Field. As soon as Josh Donaldson hits, I quit out. I don't care who 5 through 9 is, because I do not need stats for them anymore since I already completed all the generic missions. As you go ahead and complete these guys, you should unlock at least 1 more, and that 1 more is going to be Corey Seager. So once you get the 20 from these 4 missions, you were at 55, now you are going to be at 75. You're going to have Corey Seager, and you most likely would have unlocked Corey Seager 3 missions in terms of completion, and then you would be working on 2 guys at once, unless you magically got all 4 at the same time done, which kudos to you if that's your case. But then Corey Seager comes into the picture, and Corey Seager is going to land you at 80 program stars. So now is when step 4 comes into play, and this is the step where I said that you would not have to play Showdown or Conquest, but you might have to spend some stubs. So if you go into the optional rewards, or optional tasks, excuse me, you will see that collecting this Kaiju Gleyber Torres is going to give you 5 program points. Right now he's selling for 32 to 26k, but I expect his price to go down as we continue to progress inside this program and the event is still available. And then the same thing applies to this Yohan Moncada. This Yohan Moncada is currently selling for above 100k. So if you have the stubs to spend and would not like to waste your time, then you can go ahead and collect both of these guys by buying them from the community marketplace and then collecting it, and voila, you're done 100 out of 100. If you'd rather grind online and never play offline, then just go ahead and play the event until you unlock Yohan Moncada and then collect those 2 guys, and you will also have 100 out of 100. But if you are someone that does not have the stubs and does not like to play online, then Conquest is going to be one of the best options for you to go ahead and take advantage of now with these players that you have on your squad, or any players that you need stat or PXP missions to complete with, to go ahead and complete this Conquest map in order to get the 20 additional program points. And these are 6 total strongholds that you're going to have to conquer, so it should take you roughly an hour to 2 hours to go ahead and complete it if you were to take that route and complete that program as well. But another option that you do have is, let's say you just bought Gleyber Torres, you had 25,000 stubs laying around somewhere. You could then go ahead and complete this Showdown, since you would be at 85 now, in order to get the remaining 15 to get 100 out of 100. And I already fast forwarded all the way to the end. And don't be frightened because you see 0 to 32. As the program increases, or Showdown increases, the bosses give you 1 more run in terms of run support. So you can get all the way to the Orioles with 27 runs and only needing to score 6 runs in order to beat them, and all of this is on veteran difficulty. We are going to go into every single little Showdown boss. So the first one is Marlins pitcher Johnny Cueto. You're entering trailing 3 runs and need to take the lead before recording 20 outs. So it's similar to the final Showdown boss. And then you face Michael Kopech. You are down 2. You need to take the lead before recording 17 outs. Kyle Hendricks, 4 runs. You have a runner on second base, take the lead before recording 18 outs. Matt Manning, you are trailing 6 runs. You start with the bases loaded, need to take the lead before recording 20 outs. Adam Wainwright, you're trailing 5 runs. Runner on third, take the lead before 23 outs. Zach Greinke, you are trailing 8 runs with runners on second and third, take the lead before recording 28 outs. And then last but not least, Nationals pitcher Kyle Finnegan, enter the game trailing 2 runs and take the lead before recording 13 outs. So this might be the hardest one out of all of them, since it has the least amount of outs, as well as no runners on base to go ahead and help you out, but it's only 3 runs that you're going to have to score. What do all of these pitchers have in common, if you paid attention, is that these pitchers are right-handed pitchers. So I would highly suggest drafting power for right or left-handed hitters in general in order to complete the showdown and complete the program as well without having to spend any stubs. And depending on your skill level, this might be more time efficient than playing the conquest map, but if you're someone that absolutely hates showdown, then the conquest map might be more time efficient and less frustrating as well. If you did end up enjoying today's content, do me the solid of hitting that like button or subscribe button, notification bell, and checking out the description. The conquest map should be out today as well, so make sure you guys keep an eye out for that, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out.